This kid has an invisible power, and he's using it to spy on his crush. Crazy, right? Watch the whole video to see what happens. The story starts with an Italian boy named Michele Silenzi riding his bike to school. He has a €50 bill that he wants to spend on a costume for a party. At school, he sits behind Stella, the girl he has liked for a long time. A police officer named Giovanna walks into their class. Giovanna is also Michelle's mother. She is there to find out what happened to a student. Giovanna tells the class that if they hear from the missing student, they should tell the police. Michelle's nose starts to bleed after she leaves, so he runs to the bathroom. His bullies have been bothering him for a long time, and now they are trying to force him to give them all of his money. He feels bad about what happened and goes home. He pulls out a few pennies he had saved and decides to buy one with the money. Then, Michelle goes to a store that looks old and rusty and asks for a superhero costume. The shopkeeper gives him an all-in-one outfit that is too tight and a bad cape. He says it is a Chinese superhero costume. Even though Michelle doesn't like the costume, she buys it anyway. When Giovanna gets home from work, she sees Michelle in his costume. He doesn't want to go to the party because he thinks he looks stupid. She tells him he looks fine and sends him off to the party. There, Michelle has fun and even talks to Stella, the girl he likes. Then, though, his tormentors show him a video of Stella walking down the street. They say that the video was found on Michelle's phone and that he has been following Stella. Michelle feels bad and runs to the bathroom, where he locks himself in. From outside, all of his classmates bang on the door and ask him to open it. Michelle is angry, and right before the lights went out, he wished he was invisible. In the next scene, he jumps out of the bathroom window and runs back to his house. The next morning, Michelle's dog is barking at him when he wakes up. He doesn't pay much attention to him and goes to brush his teeth in the bathroom. Michelle is shocked when he looks in the mirror and sees only his robe and the brush. The mirror doesn't show his body. Michelle runs outside and quickly takes off his robe. Just then, his mother walks in and completely ignores the boy, showing that only Michelle can see himself. Michelle quickly writes on a piece of paper and puts it on the bed that he went to school early when she starts looking around. Giovanna reads it and thinks nothing of it. She calls Michelle on his phone after she leaves the room. Michelle, who isn't there, picks up the phone and tells her that he is fine. He puts on long-sleeved clothes because he doesn't know what to do next. After he is completely covered, he goes to school and watches Stella from a distance. Then Michelle sees his bully and decides to teach him a lesson for being so mean to him. He takes off his clothes and walks into school without being seen. During class, he takes the bully's paintball gun and uses it on the teacher, which caused the teacher to suspend the bully. Then Michelle goes to the girls' room and watches them take off their clothes. All of a sudden, a towel falls on him, revealing his shape to everyone. Right then, his powers start to go away, so he can be seen again. When the girls look under the towel and see Michelle naked, they scream. The next day, Michelle is in his class, where a psychologist named Basili is talking about teens' mental health. Two of Michelle's classmates have run away from home in the past month, so he thinks it's important to understand how teens think. As Michelle listens to the lecture, his hands start to glow and then vanish. He runs out of class before anyone can see him go. He runs home and covers himself from head to toe. When he gets there, he finds his little sister Candela in his room. While facing the wall, Michelle tells her to go downstairs. Candela, who is suspicious, opens and shuts the door to make it look like she left. Michelle doesn't turn around to see if anyone is watching and starts taking off his clothes. When he turns around, Candela screams out of fear because she can't see her brother. Michelle tries to make her feel better by telling her that his costume gives him superpowers. At the same time, the psychiatrist Basili is working with Giovanna at the police station to find the missing children. Giovanna is sure that the kids might have been taken, but Basili says that they are just acting like kids their age, which is normal. Michelle is still not there when Giovanna gets home. Giovanna tells the person she is talking to on the phone that Michelle was adopted. Michelle walks out of the house to a nearby swing, hurt and shocked. Stella comes by while he's swinging and thinks Michelle is a ghost because he's not there. She doesn't seem scared, though, because she asks him to be her friend. He draws a face with a smile on the sand to talk to her. They agree to get together again. After Stella leaves, Michelle notices that a man who can't be seen is staring at him. The fact that the man walks away with a stick shows that he is blind. Michelle goes to Stella's house at night. Stella is happy to have made a friend who can't be seen. When they kiss, Michelle's powers start to go away. Before Stella can see his face, he runs away. Later, Stella is by herself in her gymnastics class when a needle hits her back. She falls asleep right away. Michelle has decided to tell Stella that he was the boy who couldn't be seen. He takes his dog with him to her gymnastics class. He sees a man in a mask carrying Stella when he gets to the building. The dog bites the man's hand after Michelle attacks him, but the man and the girl are able to get away. In the end, the police get there. They figured out that the missing kids didn't run away, but were taken by someone else. Stella wakes up in a strange place with wires coming out of her head. Vasily, a psychiatrist, is there to question her. He is the one who has been taking the children, it turns out. They give the girl some tests and then put her in a cell. There were also 2 of her friends who had gone missing before she did. The next day, Michelle is by himself at a beach nearby when the blind man from the day before walks up to him. Before Michelle can ask any questions, the man answers them all. It's like he can read people's minds. When Michelle asks who he is, the man says his name is Andrzej and that he is Michelle's father. The boy doesn't believe Andrzej and says that he's telling lies. Then Andrzej starts to tell his story. He used to be a normal man from a small town in Russia, but then the town was hit by a terrible nuclear explosion. Radiation killed a lot of people and changed some of them for good. It changed their DNA, giving them unique superpowers like flying, telepathy, invisibility, etc. These people were called the Specials, and they were sent to a military camp called the Division to be used as weapons. They were used more than they could handle by the Division. The Specials lost strength the more power they used. The only person who could have children after that was Andrzej and Michelle's mother. So, it was impossible to breed new Specials. The first special child was Michelle, who was born to the couple, but they took him away as soon as he was born. So, Michelle's parents decided to leave with her and were able to do so. But the Division's people weren't going to give up. They went after the parents to get the child back. Michelle's father could read people's minds, and Michelle's mother could make herself invisible. Andrzej and Michelle were able to get away, but the Division killed his wife. Andrzej knew Michelle wasn't safe with him, so he put him in front of Giovanna's door after reading her mind and making sure she was a good person. Now, the people in the Division know that the special kid lives in the town. So they are taking kids and putting them through tests to see if they are special. When Michelle finds out where he came from, she is shocked. He almost doesn't believe it, but Andrzej says they don't have much time to talk because the fisherman beside them thinks Andrzej is suspicious and has called the police. Andrzej gives Michelle a suit that makes him and his body invisible. He then erases the fisherman's memory and leaves. Vasily and the police will be there soon. Giovanna tells him that Michelle was adopted, which makes Vasily think that maybe he is a special child. He says that he will take Michelle home. When they get home, Michelle sees that Vasily's hand is hurt because Vasily's dog bit Stella's kidnapper. He takes a suspicious look at the man and tries to run away. Vasily has locked all the doors and is planning to kidnap him, it turns out. Michelle runs into a room, strips off, and becomes invisible. He gets away even though Vasily is after him. When they are out on the streets, Michelle sees Ivan riding his bike. He sits behind him and tells him to get going as soon as possible. A nervous Ivan obliges. When they get to a safe place, Michelle tells Ivan who he is and explains what happened to their classmates. Stella and her friends look up and see vents on the ceiling. They climb on top of each other, and Stella gets to the door. She climbs a tower to get away from guards and finds a searching light at the top. She makes a happy face on the light and flashes it up to the sky because she thinks her invisible friend is looking for her. When Michelle sees Stella smile, she knows that she is trying to tell them something. He and Ivan follow the light, but as soon as they get there, Stella is caught by the guards. Ivan uses his paintball gun to mess up the electricity, while an invisible Michelle goes inside. Vasily and his men are keeping an eye on Giovanna and Andrzej, who are working together to find Michelle. He then goes deeper into the building and knocks a guard out. He threatens the other guard with his gun to open the door to the cell where Stella and the other people are being held. After getting them out and locking the guards inside, Michelle tells his friends, who are completely shocked. Stella won't let the boys leave because she saw an old man locked up in another room. She and Michelle go to help the man, but Stella takes him to the bad guys and points a gun at Michelle. She falls asleep all of a sudden, and the old man behind her begins to talk. It turns out that he can control people's minds. He's been using Vasily and Stella to get Michelle to come here. Then he brings a submarine to the ground and puts Michelle and Stella in it. The men put the two people in the water. Andrzej and Giovanna arrive at the place at that moment and meet Ivan. The building will blow up in just a few seconds. They quickly get inside and save the two kids who were taken and Vasily. Andrzej can read Vasily's mind, so he knows that someone is in charge of him. They quickly get out of the building, which then blows up into pieces. Back in the submarine, Michelle finds out he can move things with his mind and starts to make a mess. He kills the men with his magic and saves himself and Stella. They finally get back to the shore, where lots of people are waiting. Michelle makes himself invisible in front of them to show off how powerful he is. Andrzej tells Michael that they will have to erase everyone's memories because the division will come looking for them again. So Michelle does what Stella wants and gives her one last kiss. After erasing everyone's memories, Andrzej tells Michelle that he will be back. He then leaves, and everyone goes back to their normal lives. The action jumps to a place in Russia. Even though Michelle's mother was thought to be dead, she was only hurt in the fight. She had won the division back then, and now she is in charge of it. In fact, she sent those people to find Michelle and bring her back to her. The woman is now against all the normal people who look at them like they are freaks. At last, a guard tells her that Michelle is missing, but that his twin sister Natasha has been found. We know that Andrzej ran away with two kids that day because we saw a clip from the past. At the end of the movie, the guard tells Michelle's mother that Natasha is somewhere in Morocco, which indicates that there will be a second part. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.